With police and sheriff's deputies.
A San Diego County Police Chiefs and Sheriffs Association is opposing a state bill that would extend alcohol sales from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. Local law enforcement say State Bill 58 would have negative effects on communities that are within driving distance of where the bars would be staying open later. Police believe that the move could result in more drunk drivers and therefore more DUI crashes.
So joining us right now to talk a little bit about this is Chief Roxana Kennedy from the Chula Vista Police Department. Nice to have you here, Chief.
Thank you very much.
So your first reaction when you heard about the extensions of 2 hours from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m., what was the first thing that came to mind?
Well, from this entire Chiefs Association, we thought it was really ludicrous. Why would we want to put people in jeopardy when drunk driving is a serious issue that we deal with in our communities? And so, you know, people come up with bills, and we understand that people are focused on trying to make communities vibrant and successful, and you know, they talk about increasing the time so that more people that are tourists can enjoy areas and the restaurant scene and the bar scene. But there are unintended consequences from a bill like this, and I thought about it as I was driving in here this morning at 5:30 in the morning, the fact that potentially people could have just left bars not long ago and put people at risk that have been making poor decisions. You know, responsible drinking is one thing, but we know that doesn't happen on an annual basis. There are like 10,000 people that are killed from DUI accidents on an annual basis in our state, not in our state, but nationally. So that puts a lot of concern for us and for our communities as we look at this as the Sheriff Gore and Chiefs in San Diego County. It just doesn't make sense to us.
No, and as someone who's on the road shortly after 4 in the morning, I can attest to the number of people. I mean, those are commuting hours now. People are getting to work with urban sprawl. They're driving farther, so they're leaving their homes earlier. There are a lot of people on the road shortly after 4 in the morning. And as the association has mentioned, that just increases the risk, the possibility of there being more DUI crashes. So you recently sent a letter to the California Senate. Has there been a reaction yet as to a response?
Right. No response yet. There's a group of chiefs and the sheriff that we will be going up in May to talk to the senators and our assembly members and talk about issues that we think impact our communities and that we're concerned about. And of course, this is one of them that is at the top of the list. And I'm hopeful, because when I looked at some statistics on this, and from the California Office of Traffic Safety, they talked about over half of all the fatalities occur between the hours of 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. And so on top of that, and the concerns for people who, when you're drinking, you're not always making the best decision. So, you know, responsible consumption is extremely important to us. And I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, my mom and dad always said to me, nothing good happens after. They said midnight for me. Tommy told me it was 10 p.m. But I just am concerned about our community, and all the chiefs in San Diego are very concerned about the community and what the impact of this bill could be. It's in the appropriations right now with the Senate, so people have time to contact their representatives and let them know, why would we want to have a bill like this? I think what I've noticed often is that people aren't informed, and all of a sudden these bills come through and people will say to me, how did this happen? And so we want to make sure as chiefs in San Diego County that we're making sure that our community is aware of the impacts. This is potentially a pilot program that would go into play in 10 different cities in 2021. Well, getting your foot in the door and having this start could create challenges for us. So we want to make sure everyone understands that they need to be aware of this, reach out to your representative, and make sure that they understand that public safety is number one.
Well, let's talk about the bar business and the wine and spirits business. They have a huge lobby in Sacramento. They're pushing state legislators to forward their agenda, which is, of course, to sell more liquor, to keep these bars open, to continue to improve their business. So from that side of it, it's a business decision, and they're trying to push Sacramento in this direction. But from a public safety standpoint, you're the one that's dealing with the consequences of people drinking for 2 more hours at these bars and then walking out, and they don't always go, let me call Uber. They're getting in their cars and driving and killing people.
Right.
So, I mean, these lobbies have their agenda and their mission, and the business community has their agenda as well. So this is a fine balance for a community to have to deal with. I mean, I remember when they went from 12 p.m. or 12 midnight to 2 a.m. and everyone thought that was a bad idea, but it happened. So, I mean, you're kind of fighting an uphill battle here against these lobbyists.
It's extremely challenging, and I think people only look at it sometimes from law enforcement. They don't realize the impact to other organizations like fire. The fire department is responding to these calls. EMS is responding to these calls. The local hospitals are impacted in their emergency room from the calls. And it's not just talking about an accident, it's the impact on the choices that people make. It's just it's something that we feel is really not unnecessary. You know, if people want to drink alcohol, they have the ability to drink alcohol in their home. But why should you be out on the streets at 4 a.m. in the morning? And that's when people start to make poor choices, when it's time for the bars to close down. And that's what is most concerning to us.
Well, as you said, it is in appropriation, so people feeling strongly about this can certainly contact our representatives, and obviously we'll hopefully hear a response to the letter and concerns sent by the Police and Sheriff's Association.
Right. Well, thank you for allowing us an opportunity to speak on behalf of our communities. I think it's very important right now that we all band together and make sure we keep our communities safe.
Chief Kennedy, thanks so much for being here this morning. Appreciate it. All right, we'll be right